Hey everybody, it's Chad with Nobody Else's Auto. We got something a little bit different tonight. Now obviously we pretty much do American cars and trucks here. You can see the Fords and the Chevy in the background. That's probably what you'd expect we're going to be talking about tonight, but actually no, we're going to talk about this. Now, even though we do primarily American cars, I do have a few European cars here, couple of British cars, a couple of Volkswagens, there's even a Porsche out back. So there are a few European cars here, but it's a very, very small handful of them. So when I got the call on this, I thought it was something a little bit different, something I didn't know anything about. So I thought, what the heck, I can learn something about it. Maybe you can learn something about it, because I didn't know anything about it when it showed up here. But a gentleman called me. They had picked it up. They needed to move it. He was coming through my area, asked if I was interested in it, sent me some pictures. We worked out a deal over the phone, and he pulled up on my gate with it, and I unloaded it. So then I had to figure out what the heck I had. So, and some of you guys probably will help enlighten me and some of the other viewers about some of these things. So I didn't know anything about it. I did a little bit of research. I know you guys are going to have more insight on it than I have. But what we've got here, 1969 Triumph Spitfire Mark III. Now, the Triumph Spitfire, I knew absolutely nothing about before I bought this car. So I did a little bit of research on them. And it turns out these were developed to compete with the Austin Healey Sprite. In the early 60s is when this car was originally unveiled in 1962. Designed to be street racing, road racing, SCCA stuff in competition with the Austin Healey Sprite. This was built on a shortened sedan chassis, and they turned it into a sports car type vehicle. They built these from 1962 to 1980. They built 5 different generations of them. The first one 1962 to 64. The second one 1965 to 67. And then in 1967 they switched to this car, which they made from 1967 through 1970, the Mark III Triumph Spitfire. So, like I said, I'm learning about them. I know you guys are going to have more insight on them. This one's been sitting for a really long time. It is definitely rough. It's got some rust in it. It is primarily pretty much a parts car at this point, but it is pretty much all there. And that means there's going to be some good pieces left on this one to help save some others. So one thing that did surprise me about this car being a small sports car type vehicle, it is a body on frame construction. They did increase the engine size for the Mark III up to right at 1,300 cc's. I believe 1,296 cc's was the engine size for the Mark III as they bumped it up a little bit for performance. I think it showed these made a whopping 75 horsepower with 75 pounds of torque. But they were a small, light, nimble car, so I'm sure they were able to put that 75 horsepower to good use. So, like I said, this one's a little rough, been sitting for a long time, but it is pretty much intact and complete, so there's some bits and pieces on it. So let's go take a look at it and check it out. Well, here she is, the 1969 Triumph Mark III Spitfire. Know absolutely nothing about these cars other than what I'm learning since this one showed up at the gate. Like I said, it's rough. It's been sitting for a long time. It's got some rust in the floors, but it's pretty much here and intact. So around the back, we've got this big overrider bumper guard. We've got the Spitfire Mark III badge on the trunk lid. Shows Triumph on the trunk. Had a turn lock handle. Appears as though this must have had some sort of a luggage rack on it. It has 4 strategically placed holes in the trunk lid, so I'm assuming this did have some sort of a luggage rack on it. Exposed trunk hinges. I guess that's the fuel cap right here on the back. Yep. Now all this thing is pretty much here. The lights are intact. Even the lenses aren't broken out, which is kind of odd for a car that's been sitting for a really long time, such as this one. All the hubcaps are there. Just weathered and deteriorated. Obviously we can just see shards left of the convertible top assembly, or the convertible top itself, but the convertible top frame is all here. Inside of this little Triumph, it's all here. It's just heavily weathered. Top latch is still here. Around the front, all the trim's still here. The trim on the front fenders, the headlight trim, the park lights, the grille, it's all still here. Like I said, this thing is definitely a little out of my wheelhouse, if not completely out of my wheelhouse, but it's still kind of a unique little car, and I'm sure there's guys out there that still like these things. Looks like they'd be a ton of fun for a nice one to go out and cruise around in. Let's take a peek under the hood. Flip these latches up, I believe. Got another one over here. And let's see if this thing will pop up like we want it to. There we go. And under here, there again, pretty much appears to be complete. Now this is pretty unique. This entire front clip lifts up, fender wells and all. Everything is completely exposed at this point, which would make it really convenient to work on. You can see the whole suspension. It's all completely accessible. Everything on the engine, clutch and brakes. And over here on the other side, dual carburetors even. So, nice thing about it, does appear to pretty much all be here, just rough. But wow, you can just literally access everything the way this front end is designed to completely lift up and expose everything. Up under here, you can get into the headlights. Here's some of our specifications. For the 1969 Triumph Spitfire. So a really unique little car. Still has a data plate on it. On the 69 Triumph Spitfire Mark III. So there you have it, the little Triumph Spitfire Mark III. Like I said, completely out of my wheelhouse, but that's another fun thing about what I do, and another fun thing about having you guys on here is we all learn something. I get a car in I've never had before, don't know much about it. You do some research, you study on it, you learn about it, and you got another little snippet in the world of automotive history that you've learned something about. So I know a lot of you guys watching this video are going to know way more about these cars than I do. It's the only one I've ever had, so what I've learned is just what I've done from some quick basic research. But it is a unique car. It looks like it'd be a ton of fun if you had a good one. And this car, even though it's rough, being pretty much all intact, still a lot of good pieces here. I know they're going to help save some of those that are still out on the road. So got any questions about this little Triumph or any of the other 2,000 cars and trucks we've got here on the ground at Nobody Else's Auto, just give me a shout. 620-786-4428. That number is in the description part of this video. So you can give me a call and we can talk about your project or exactly what you're looking for a project. Year, make, model, body style. All that information is critical to know if I may have something here that can help you out. So texts, phone call, texts, emails, none of that stuff has near as much information as a phone call that I can get out of you really quick. So that's why the phone call is so critical. Just give me a shout, see if we got anything here that can help you out. So if you like these old cars, you like old trucks, be sure to check out the channel, Nobody's Show. That's all we do on here because that's pretty much all I know. So we do a lot of old cars, trucks, parts, memorabilia, and we have a ton of fun doing it. So click that subscription button and definitely click that notification button because we do a lot of cool live stuff on here. You won't want to miss any of that either. So hope you enjoyed the little Spitfire. Stay tuned. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up, some Chevy trucks, some international trucks, even a super cool old Cadillac. I've had a lot of new inventory hitting the ground lately. You don't want to miss any of it. So hope you enjoyed the Triumph and stay tuned. We got a lot more cool stuff coming up and we sure hope to see you soon on the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody.